Thank you to Opera for sponsoring a portion of this video. There's a lot going on with the Pixel 6. Google packed a ton of new things into this phone, and after now months of use, a lot of software updates, a lot of bug fixes, even some bug introductions, I'm kind of wondering, is this phone still worth it? I think most of us gave Google like a bit of a pass, maybe it was just me, when the Pixel 6 came out. Even though sort of the Pixel series is years old, this generation more than any other felt just like a complete fresh start. So there are a lot of new things in this phone that Google had never done before. So the Pixel 6 has great hardware and design. It's kind of a new one on the design front. There's high-end camera hardware to go along with the incredible processing. Completely new in-house designed Tensor chip powering this thing. So all of that together made this a really exciting phone, one that I was jazzed to use and kind of really excited and wanted to have in my pocket. But as seems to be the theme with Google, 6 Pro wasn't exactly a home run when it first came out. Parts of it were great, others still needed some, let's say, like addressing. I think where Google did absolutely hit it out of the park though clearly is with design. And obviously Google wanted an iconic look that was instantly recognizable as a Pixel. And with that visor, they achieved that. Design is subjective. I happen to like it a lot. But even if you don't like the design, you know that you are looking at a Pixel. There's no mistakenness for anything else. I also think the design, at least for the 6-7 months, has aged pretty well. So the only part of the design that I still don't love is the curved edges of the screen. They look nice, but in practicality, it's tough in the hand. This is a trend I hope dies out soon, but we are stuck with it on the Pixel. Luckily though, the screen is awesome. So 120 Hz, vibrant and sharp, everything you want from a display, everything I want from a display. And I think the Material You design language is the absolute perfect pairing for the screen. And I'm excited to see it evolve with the next version of Android 13. And speaking of Android 13 and updates, that's weirdly been hit or miss in the 6-7 months of the Pixel 6 Pro. Because obviously it's a Pixel, I know I'm going to get years of updates. That's awesome. But the updates on the Pixel have been very strange. Oftentimes, they've been late to hit the phone. And when they do, they don't really fix all the things, and sometimes they even made it worse. That was more of an issue early on, especially with the Pixel 6 Pro, but Google does seem to have figured it out in all fairness. So while that was a slight annoyance, the biggest issue I had since the beginning of the phone's life is the in-screen fingerprint sensor. And listen, I know some of you have had no issues at all, some have. It seems to be very, very split. The best case scenario, it was worse than the competition. And I was hopeful that software updates would fix this over time, but I do have to say it didn't happen completely, at least for me. If you go online, you'll find people, again, very clearly split down the middle. Some will say the scanner is great, others say it isn't. I'm on the isn't side. If you are on the great side, then awesome for you. You didn't have to deal with any of these problems. But even after time, the scanner is still slow and still more unreliable than anything that's came before it. And I've done all the stuff like putting your finger in multiple times and all that kind of stuff. Still has not fixed the issue. It is, in all fairness, still faster than typing in a password. It's not on the level of really any other fingerprint scanner out there, especially on flagship phones. Something I am definitely hoping will be fixed with the Pixel 7. So one thing that you're probably going to do on your Pixel, whether it's a 6 or a 7, whatever you decide to get, is the browser. And for probably the best browsing experience going, you owe it to yourself to try Opera. And they make amazing browsers for mobile, but I did want to talk about their desktop browser. So the big, I think, hurdle a lot of people have to trying a new browser, you're set on what you like, you like what you're using, is getting all of your stuff into the new browser. Opera makes that really easy. Things like bookmarks and even some saved passwords can all migrate over to make your experience look how you are used to. That's awesome. If you're using a lot of social media apps, the chat functions built in, Opera actually has a way to integrate that directly into the browser so you're not going between multiple apps and windows. It is all in one spot, and they make it really seamless and really easy. There's also a built-in VPN. So if you want to keep whatever you are doing, a layer of privacy between that and the rest of the world. It is built into the browser, and like the browser itself, is completely free, making things a lot easier as well. If ad blocker is your jam, you can toggle that on or off. With Opera Pinboard, you can collect pictures, links, music files, and really whatever you want. I use it to create a Google Pinboard featuring sort of some stuff about the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro to keep my head straight with what's coming, along with some Amazon affiliates, links, and sort of accessories to sort of round out what I was doing there. Actually, I'll link to this pinboard down in the description too if you want to check it out and kind of see how easily they are to create and how they can be shared. If you want a browser, it's going to be powerful, do everything you need, not kill your battery life, and give you sort of some more peace of mind on the privacy standpoint. You owe it to yourself to give Opera a shot. If you want to check them out, we will link to them down below. What does not need to be fixed though, is that sweet camera. I mean, like, I think this is why most people buy Pixels. The camera is still one of the best on a phone you can get out there. I love the 4x telephoto zoom. The quality of the camera is outstanding. And usually with phones, secondary cameras, kind of meh. But I think Google did a really awesome job with this one, and it's gotten better over the software updates. The photos are sharp, clean, and look really similar to the main camera sensor. So hats off to Google for that. Now there are some that would say the Pixel camera needs a bit more these days. I can kind of see that perspective. But on a whole, the Pixel camera delivers what I'm looking for from a camera, and that is consistency. Every photo I know is going to be some version of good. And most phones these days are getting, really good at certain things, but they're not always good at everything. And I think the Pixel is really good at everything, and it still is, a notch above. To my eye, I can tell a Pixel photo is a Pixel photo, and if you like that look, you're going to just fall in love with the camera here. So at this point, I think talking about sort of most processors in phones is pointless. The A15 in the iPhone is excellent. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 is excellent. After a few months, sort of you don't expect and don't get any degradation of experience. That's like the very least thing you can expect from a flagship processor. Tensor here is a bit different. It was the first time sort of we've had it in a phone, and it was impossible to know how it would age. And months later, we're getting an idea. So, and by aging, obviously a very small sample size here. I think the big story will be in 12, 18, and 24 months and beyond. But it's hard to quantify what a processor feels like. I can do benchmarks and tell you a synthetic score you can compare to other processors, but it does not explain what the phone is like to use in your hand, opening first-party apps, third-party apps, multitasking, battery life, how you individually use a phone. The best way I can describe it is this. I very, very, very rarely notice the performance of this phone. And I mean that in like the best way possible. When I do notice performance dips, it's hard to pin it just on the processor. I mentioned the fingerprint reader earlier. That is slow, but doesn't seem like a processing issue, at least I don't assume it is. Sometimes I experience frame drops in the interface or games, that's probably more optimization rather than an issue with Tensor's capabilities. But on a whole, the phone still feels snappy and powerful. I don't think about Tensor anymore than I think about processors in any other phone. So from that perspective, I think Google did an awesome job with their first in-house processor, and this made me excited for what comes next. I do think Tensor is helping hugely though with battery life. So in all fairness, a 5,000 milliamp hour battery is big and could easily last all day here. It's still not battery king, but it's much better than Pixels of years past. I don't have to worry about whether or not my phone's going to last me through the day. And since the Pixel 6 was such a big change in the mindset of the Pixel line, it's kind of making me wonder what the future of the line is going to look like. It seems like an annual question here. Lucky for us, Google did the hard work for us and basically already told us what's next. The Pixel 7 is official, and luckily it appears to be going the same direction as the 6. And I think that is fundamentally important. From what we've seen, the Pixel 7 looks to be a refinement of the Pixel 6. That is exactly what it needs to be. I'm crossing my fingers that the Pixel 7 will bring some form of face unlock back. I think actually Google did an awesome job with that in Pixels past. That being said, is the Pixel 6 Pro still worth buying? I'm gonna say no, not right now. And most definitely not for full price. Since we know the Pixel 7 is coming, it's well worth the wait. Once the 7 is out, you can decide whether or not to get that, or a Pixel 6 for presumably will be a much more affordable price. But Google also announced Pixel 6a. I love the A series, and the 6a looks to be sort of the best A ever, obviously. It's the newest one. Same Tensor chip, big screen, great design. Almost all the good parts of this Pixel 6 are present in the 6a. So at the very least, it's worth waiting for the A to come out before you make that decision. I'm a huge fan of the Pixel line. I want the Pixel to succeed. I've also been probably the hardest on Google over the years because I always thought the Pixel could be more. And I think the 6 and the 6 Pro were huge steps into fulfilling that Pixel vision. And now with watches coming and tablets coming back, there is a Pixel ecosystem to get excited about. And the phone, whether it's the 6, 6 Pro, 6a, or 7 Pro, is a key part of that. And having that main part be good to great is awesome. I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful. And I think the Pixel 6 set an incredible foundation for what's gonna come.